Welcome to Auto Collapse. You're listening to an exclusive series recorded live at Automobility LA 2025 in partnership with Cars Commerce.
All right, we're out here at the LA Auto Show, beautiful Los Angeles, with our friends from Voltera. Brett, Chairman and CEO, thanks for joining us today.
Hey, thank you for having me. Great to be here.
We always love it when it's the first recorded conversation we get to have because there's so much to unpack. So we try to get as much of it out and your perspective on the issues and the challenges as we can. So I'm going to start by asking you to just explain what the company does and why it started.
Sure. Yeah. Voltera is a developer of depots for electrification for fleets. Right. We buy the property. We entitle the power, or entitle it. Bring the power, and then build, right? Everyone talks about or thinks EV charging is easy, but without all the steps that have to go along the way to get all the power and all that stuff in place, it's very difficult. To date, we've built 10 depots across cities like Los Angeles, San Francisco, Phoenix, Tempe, Austin, Houston, Dallas, Atlanta, and Miami. Can't forget Miami.
I think you nailed all of them right there.
Yeah, I think I nailed all of them. 400 stalls to date, about 39 megawatts of power. Wow. And we've got double that amount in development today.
One question, and a thing that we talk about a lot is that commercial vehicle electrification is probably the fastest path to electrification. A commercial fleet can understand where the benefits are. The access to charging can be grown quicker, and you're kind of solving that access to charging for these fleet managers. Where's the opportunity that you see in the commercial side of the world for electrification, and why are you trying to solve their charging infrastructure issues?
Yeah, well, I think even with the removal of the subsidies, I think the total cost of operation and ownership for EVs makes sense, certainly for the light duty and for medium duty as well. The challenge we're trying to solve is people decide, or groups decide they want to get the vehicles, and then 2 months before they're supposed to take delivery, like, oh, we got to think about this charging infrastructure thing.
And because it's just electric.
Yeah, I'm just taking an appliance.
What's the new technology? It's just electric.
I buy a refrigerator, I go to the store, it ships
plug it in. Right. How come these breakers keep tripping?
Exactly. And that's the problem, right? So when you think about EV charging, there's a lot of planning that has to go on with that, right? If you're doing it, one of the reasons why we buy the real estate ourselves is because that once we control the real estate, we control the timeline and the process, and we can work with the governing agencies to make it happen. A lot of these fleet operators who are behind the fence, they're leasing their property from somebody else. And so you might have convinced that fleet operator that they need to electrify their fleet, but then you've got to go through a whole nother set of approvals when you have to get the landlord who owns the property to allow you to come in and
mess it all up, do all the things, change it,
right.
Maybe configure it in a space that would not be feasible if the tenant leaves.
That's right, because a tenant might only be there for 5 more years, but the cost, if you want to amortize that cost, it's going to take 10 years.
I had a commercial building once, and a big steel company wanted to lease it, and they wanted to do all this build outs to it that I was concerned that after you leave, what conditions the property going to be in for the next tenant. So a company will hire you to basically develop a space and then lease it from you? Is that how it works?
Yeah, so we go to market one of two ways. One is we have a customer that has decided we want to be in a certain market, and then we will go out with them, find the property in the right place based on their needs, and then they've hit the easy button at that point in time.
Right, you acquire the property.
We acquire the property.
You do the permitting, you develop it.
We develop it. When it is energized and ready, they come in and it's like, here you go.
Can you give us an example of a company or an actual company if you can share?
Well, I can't, interestingly enough, a lot of our companies are under NDA.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I can share, we have lovely sites that are in Santa Monica, here, sites that are up in Phoenix that I mentioned.
What types of services do these companies offer that they
offer
use an electrified fleet?
Autonomous fleets, robo-taxis are a big thing today.
Okay. So robo taxis are a big deal in this. It's not just your medium heavy duty stuff. It's kind of light duty. Where consumers would interact with those types of vehicles.
I see you're going to see a big uptake in Rideshare and AV in general.
Yep.
A lot of announcements with a lot of companies getting into that space.
Yeah, we're staring at we're staring at a Tensor right now, a new company relatively new to the market. That is a ground-up built vehicle. Right. We've been watching Waymos drive all around the city because it's not common where we are right now.
Yeah, that vehicle out there, right? They want you and I to own that, right? So that it can drop me off at work. You can go, do all my errands for me, and then come back and pick me up.
What are some of the roadblocks to like the future efficiency of this? We were having a chat last night that some of it's just like, if you've got an autonomous vehicle, how much autonomy do you need in the whole process, and how are you thinking of solving those things?
Yeah, well, taking a half a step back, right? It's really about the entitlement and the permitting and the energization, right?
Got it. Yeah.
So I was speaking earlier today, right? It might be shocking to know that if you want to go and put EV charging infrastructure at a site in a depot format, there's only one city in the U.S. that allows you to do that by right, and that's Austin, Texas. Wow. And we know that because we helped them actually get that permitted.
Not surprising, actually.
Yeah, but everywhere else, you have to find it's an ancillary use. It's like you have an operations building, and charging is an ancillary service. So the first thing we have to do is we have to get the permitting right.
Yeah.
First and foremost.
Normalize it.
Or I should say we have to get the zoning right. And then it's the permitting, right? Like we've got to have a methodical, predictable process for getting things entitled. When you have to go through 14 different agencies to get your sites approved, it's not only is it exhausting, it's just you never know what's going to come up.
Yeah.
It's like life's a box of cherries. It doesn't feel like that when you're right. You just don't know what. And sometimes it could be, someone's out for 6 weeks and you've got to wait for them to get
and
back.
And that
one person in that process
is in the way.
Wow. You can't move. So you've got to get through those barriers. And then, of course, the last piece is the interconnection, the power. We've got to have predictability of power. And it takes a lot of time to get that done. And then when you finally get a utility to commit, unfortunately, a lot of times they're not hitting the deadlines that they've set out. And when we are contracting with a customer to deliver a site on time, or we have penalties, it doesn't work when the utility doesn't meet their end of the bargain. So then we wind up having to do, I don't want to call it patchwork, but having to bring generation on site, natural gas generators.
So that's a great pivot point, because we're hearing so much about all of the power needs that are expanding very quickly with AI and data centers. And we're also talking about electrifying our vehicle fleets. So I would assume that that's becoming an increasingly complex challenge to solve from your perspective. How can we get the amount of power that we need allocated to us?
It's a big problem. I mean, we're here talking about the LA Olympics that are happening, right?
Yeah.
And the fact that we have 3,000 DC fast chargers that are going to be needed, and we're 2.5 years away.
How many do we have here?
I think someone said we are maybe a third of the way there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And we've got 2.5 years to do that, right?
Yeah.
So how's that going to happen, right? If we go through the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting
results. Can't do that for the next 2 years.
And so what we've been calling for is like an infrastructure tiger team, right? Let's break down the silos. Every project that is tied to LA28, let's make sure we give that priority review. Let's make sure that we assign people from each of the city agencies and the utilities to this team, and that they have actually authority to approve projects and move them forward. And then from an accountability perspective, each project needs to have an expediter, one person whose sole responsibility it is
see that thing along.
Yeah, see it along. One person, one throat to choke. If we're not getting responses from someone on that Tiger team, it's that person's responsibility to go in and figure out what's missing, what do you need, remove roadblocks so those roadblocks don't become delays.
All right, we're just
you
about
need
to
a type A, high D.
Yeah.
Type A person? Where? Is there one around here?
Let's clear some paths. I know one.
I don't see one.
We're almost to time here, but can you tell us what the next 12 to 24 months looks like for you? What are the things you're trying to achieve, and what are the targets you have set?
Look, I think that for us, real estate comes first, right? We got to find the right real estate at the right price point with the right energy. We can do that, and we can do that effectively and efficiently, then I think that's the pathway to success for us.
That's awesome. Brett, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Kudos on what you're building and what you're driving for, not just personally, but for kind of a broader audience.
Yeah,
awesome.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this LA Auto Show session brought to you by Cars Commerce. At More Than Cars, we are obsessed with uniting people around one big idea: to make retail auto an industry that people fight to join. If that resonates with you, head over to morethancars.com to check out our daily email and explore our full list of podcasts.